Welcome. It's Saturday and it's 5 p.m. It's exactly 5 p.m. And yes, here we are again. It's the Game of Facts by India Fact Quiz. And I can see a few names. So I'm going to quickly introduce myself and introduce all that we're about. So I'm Rashmi Naik, and I'm your host for this short 25 minutes or 30 minutes of India Fact Quiz. An India Fact Quiz is powered by India Spend, which is a data journalism initiative. Now, what we do is a very simple proposition. We're not here about general knowledge, so you don't really have to know everything about what's going on from books. What we're here to do is really sort of get a sense of how observant you are about life around you and test those biases. So sometimes what happens is, and it's very normal, it's very natural, we have a whole bunch of these biases that we carry along with us. It could be something that people have told us, it could be one anecdotal experience we've had, and we kind of make an impression that, that's the thumb rule and that's how things are. But when you start to look at numbers, or you start to look at data, or you start to look at evidence, then a whole new story appears. And that's what we're here to present to you. So you're not going to just walk away with, oh, this is right or wrong, as opposed to why some things are the way they are and why probably we have to start questioning, we have to start changing the status quo because some things need not be that way. And the things and the topics that we focus on are not capitals of countries or, who's the best sportsman who won a particular award or something of that sort. It really is about issues that ought to matter to us. All of us will know who the richest man in the world is, but if we don't know what the literacy rates in our country are, then something's a little off. So we're here to kind of come and bring that to the right path. We need everything in life. We need entertainment. We need, some amount of fiction. We need, some amount of seriousness. We need some amount of philosophy. We need some amount of, just having fun, and maybe economics and literature and all of that really makes life a lot more interesting. When we look at our lives, unfortunately, when we talk about facts, so we talk about misinformation or disinformation or fake news or opinions or rhetoric, that somehow has become mainstream. And that is what India Fact Quiz is trying to balance out. I will say the word trying. It's been a year and we've just been having such a fantastic experience and such a great relationship that we're building with all of you over time. Literally, some of you are first names to us. You'll write to us every week, and we owe some of you some responses. So forgive us if we're a little delayed on that one. There's too much that's been happening. But it's just been, something that we've been sort of building as we go along. It's a movement of sorts, and you all are a part of that movement. And to take care of you at the back end, we have Muskan, Shrish, Meenal, and Shiva. Shiva is the one that you were listening to, is because of whom you're listening to that fantastic song by Rekha Bharadwaj. She always sort of just sets you in the right mood, and he always comes up with like a different playlist, which is kind of thematic. Shrish is the one who kind of picks up the books, and he's our curator at India Fact Quiz. And every now and then he's been surprising us with such fantastic titles. So what do we have is at the end of this quiz for all of you? No, Deep Lakshmi, we haven't come up with the certificates yet. That is in the works, but we do have a book for you. So Mystic Ranger, the book this week is called Whereabouts. This is by Jhumpa Lahiri. We all know her as the one who wrote And she also starred, by the way, just a small fleeting role in a movie called Namesake, which had Irfan Khan and Tabu in the lead. And she was just like a fleeting role. It was a Meera Nair film. And then after Namesake, she's also written Interpreter of Melodies, which is sort of short stories. And she also wrote Lowlands, which is set in West Bengal, where she is her ancestrally from. Now, whereabouts is sort of very interesting. And I say interesting because every book is, but this one in particular, where the author has actually put herself up for a very strange challenge. Now, Jhumpa Lahiri is, her parents are from Calcutta, from West Bengal, went to the US. She's done most of her schooling there. So she speaks American English and possibly Bengali, and that's about it. What she's done is she takes herself from that setting and she moved to Italy. She learned Italian as an adult, and learning these kind of languages, romantic languages in particular, can be quite challenging. She learns Italian and then she writes a book in Italian. So Sharvani has read Lowlands, and it was a very interesting book. It was a very again, nostalgia, all of loneliness, solitude, all of that comes in. So Dipali, the book is Whereabouts. It's a book that was originally published in Italian language by a writer who normally writes in English, and she's translated that Italian book back in English, which is, I think, very fascinating. And I think she's really sort of pushed herself to the limit, as far as this book is concerned. All right. And she writes a lot about loneliness, about solitude. So she's kind of made that her sort of central theme around all her books, whether it's an immigrant or whether it is, a mother's. She just does that very beautifully. So she's explored that as well. I must make a disclaimer here that I have not read the book, but if Shrish has picked this book, then it must be really, really good. Okay, so with that, just quickly, you know that you need to log into, oh yes, this is an absolutely free quiz. I think someone, we put it out there in the chat box, but the only thing we demand from you is your time. And just go with the flow. Sometimes it does get demotivating when you're not really making it to the scoreboard, but you'll see over the weeks, you'll get there. All right, so you do know how to play this. And for those of you who are a little hesitant or new to this, it's fairly straightforward. And then of course, we're all there in the chat to address any of your problems. So essentially you need two screens. What you're going to do is you will log into www.kahoot.it. You will put in the game pin, and then you're going to put in your name, and you are pretty much good to go. What's going to happen is, as the quiz starts, I'm going to share my screen, and Ria will just about start as soon as I'm done, which is we take about 10 minutes just to sort of warm up. I still have two to go. And then what we'll do is share the screen. You will see your name on the screen. The first three questions are poll questions. It's just to get you comfortable with the medium. You need to have fairly decent bandwidth, and this quiz is not very demanding in that sense of the word. You just have to make sure you're looking at your screen, because the question's going to appear there, and then you pick the right option. So the first three questions, like I said, are poll questions to get you comfortable with the format. And then we start into the quiz. I think Akhil is in a real hurry. So just very quickly, I'm going to share my screen, and it's 10 questions, true or false, multiple choice questions, and 2 puzzle questions. Sai, the game pin is in the chat box, but we'll of course give it to you. So welcome everyone. This is week 26 of quizzing. For those of you who are keeping count, we definitely are. And really appreciate you joining us this evening. I'm going to now share my screen, and you will see your names on it. And with that, you're in a good place. Adit, Vanshika, Sif, Avinash, Devanji, Sushil, Arya, Suhail, Rashmi, my namesake, Mayur, Yukta, Anjali, Nishant, Mukesh, Aman, Riya, Shreyas, Gargi, Shashikala, Pushpa, Akash, Aryan. Welcome, everyone. It's going to be a fantastic next 20 minutes. Welcome, Modi ji. Really happy that you're here. It's going to be a good 20 minutes of some quizzing, and at the end of it, you're going to walk away with Jhumpa Lahiri's whereabouts. So, with that, we get into the poll questions. And we have to thank folks at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and India Spend for helping us with this quiz. Okay, poll questions, like I said, don't have any points. It's a multi-select. What makes a public personality a legend? So we saw the passing of Dilip Kumar very recently, and it sort of got us thinking at IFQ, is it the character of the person, or is it probably how wealthy the person is that makes them really long lasting as a legend? Is it fame? Typically, someone from Bollywood gets away with that, or is it somebody who's a philanthropist who sort of gives, is an institution? So 59 of you have said it's character that's really comes across. It's somebody who stands for what they believe in. 20 of you have said fame. Yes, when you're a public figure, it just is a natural, a progression. Wealth clearly does not excite most of us in this group, which is fantastic because yes, okay, yeah, you're rich, but then we need to go beyond that. And then, of course, those who give to society. So clearly we have an excellent group this evening, which puts me all the more in a very good mood. And with this, we get into the next question. The person whose political theory you feel you can relate to. You may not agree with everything, but it kind of connects with you. Is it Mahatma Gandhi? Is it Nelson Mandela? Che Guevara, who was clearly very out there as a revolutionary, or is it the Dalai Lama? Again, very four different personalities, and 34 of you have said Mahatma Gandhi, which is clearly a very, I think it stands the test of time in so many ways and still inspires you. 25 of you have said Nelson Mandela, clearly somebody who took a lot, borrowed from Mahatma Gandhi, but also had his own views and his own brand of, his political beliefs, spent many, many years in prison and still was able to retain his aura among his following, which I thought was significant. Che Guevara, clearly revolutionary, a socialist. He stood for the right things. He went away very young, clearly a legend as well. Maybe a bit too rough and tumble for our times, but did leave an impression, a lasting impression. And then we've also seen Dalai Lama, the way he sort of had to be out of his country and yet keep his following together, his people together. Interesting leadership styles, all four of them really embody. Okay, this is a dilemma, and it's a real incident. So there was this English soccer fan who was fired from her job. She was, I think, a digital content developer. She calls in at office saying she's fallen ill, she can't make it, but she was there at the English soccer match against Denmark. She was on television because she was sitting right behind the goal, and she was fired. So we're asking, should she have lied, or should she have lost a job because she lied, or what's the big deal about it? She should have still kept her job, and what the heck? It's just a small little lie, right? So 29 of you have said she shouldn't have lied. She asked for it. I kind of fall in that camp. 22 of you have said, hey, it was for the country. I mean, she bunked work, but it wasn't personal. It was really for England. 20 of you have said, no big deal. It was a small lie. But it's always, right? The small lies lead to bigger ones. And I think, having a strong moral compass does become a little important. And 38 of you have said she lied. That was wrong, but sacking her was probably too big a punishment, which I get. But well, I think, sometimes you just have to stand for something, and it's not always easy, right? Okay, so this was just poll questions. It was just easy. There are no right answers, and actually, every answer has a very valid point to it. But now we get into the quiz. It's 10 quick questions. At the end of it, we'll see who wins. It's a very dynamic scoreboard. So don't get too disheartened if you're not seeing yourself there, because things could turn. The first question, Yogasana is recognized, or yoga is recognized as a competitive sport by the government of India. Is this statement true or false? What we're saying is that yoga is a sport, a competitive sport. Is that true or false? Right. So 76 of you clearly know that the government of India, and led by the Prime Minister, do take your yoga asanas very seriously. In fact, it is indeed a competitive sport. In fact, from this year, where in the Youth Khelo India Games, this will be listed as a competitive sport. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how we're really going to be able to make it. There is a Yogasana Sport Federation, National Sport Federation, that has been founded. It has also been funded, but it is going to be interesting to see how we take it forward from here. And with this question, we'll just quickly take a look at the scoreboard. It's Adit, Aroni, Avinash, Gargi, and Sini, who are in the top 5. Like I said, it's a very dynamic scoreboard, so it's going to change very quickly. So, but don't let me take the spotlight from you. Okay, the next question, and this has double points as well. The recent nationwide water conservation initiative launched by the Prime Minister for sustainable management of water resources is called Har Ek Boond, Jal Hai To Kal Hai, Pani Amrit Shakti, or Catch the Rain Where It Falls When It Falls. Okay, so 26 of you have got it correct. In fact, it was just launched very recently in March 2021. It's a program that goes on from pre-monsoon till November. And it is across urban and rural India to understand the importance of water conservation at a grassroots level. And it is indeed called Catch the Rain, Where It Falls, and the theme is Where It Falls, When It Falls for this year. Okay. With that, we get into the scoreboard, and it's a whole new 5 games. We have Modi ji also there, but that's Parisha, Vanshika, Naresh, Padmaja, and Modi ji on the scoreboard. So looks like we're in for a very interesting game of facts this week. Okay, the next question. Urban India has a sewage treatment capacity of 23.5 million liters per day. The current sewage generation is estimated at 53 million liters per day, 62 million liters, 33 million liters, or 19 million liters. The capacity for processing it is 23.5 million liters per day currently. But what we generate is clearly a different number. And according to you, what is that number? So 54 of you went for the highest number, and that is correct. Urban India churns out 62 million liters of sewage per day, which has to be treated by a capacity that is clearly not built for it. So it gives you an indication of the kind of crisis, if you will, that we are staring at because if you want clean water, then we also have to be able to treat the water well. And currently, our technology and our capacity is not ready for that. Okay. This, by the way, was a question which was asked at the parliament. And this is, unfortunately, it's not a number which I must say is recent. It's from 2015 by the Central Pollution Control Board, but this is the most recent number that we have. And therefore, data tells us that when this is something which is so important and is so fundamental to life, that we need to probably have a better rigor in recording these numbers and recording data. And that's the best part about using data, because it tells you that when you have more frequent usage of data, the importance of updating it becomes that much more important for the government. Okay. A little bit of the advocacy bit, but very quickly, the scoreboard now has Parisha in the lead, followed by Naresh, Modiji, Swati Goswami, and Udit Nair. Right. The next question. This state has the highest number of polluted river stretches of surface water. So we're saying the numbers of rivers with the surface water polluted are the highest in the state. Is it the state of Madhya Pradesh, Assam, Gujarat, or Maharashtra? Okay, so 59 of you are correct. This is interesting. You guys know a lot. So 53 rivers have been identified as polluted river stretches of surface water in Maharashtra, followed by Assam, which is about 44 rivers. And then you have Madhya Pradesh, which has about 22 rivers, which has polluted river surface areas. And then we have Gujarat here, which is the 20. But before that comes Kerala, which has 21 rivers that have a polluted surface. Now, why is this important? It means that clearly the industries are not complying with the environmental standards of these states. Sometimes the culprit is, of course, industrialized states. And therefore, states like Maharashtra will have to use better technologies, do better reporting to make sure that these numbers change. Okay. And with this, we have Naresh, Modiji, Swati, Udit, and Mukesh. And Ria is the highest climber. Let me tell you, there's a lot of scope for changes right till the end. But yes, enjoy your time in the sun when you can. This is a true or false, and you get double points for this. Sugar is classified as a grossly polluting industry. This is a classification we're asking, is it true or is it false? Okay, so 87 of you have said true. Now, there are 17 industries that have been classified by the government of India as grossly producing industries. And this includes chemicals, tanneries, and sugar stands out for being one of those very innocuous industries that actually is one of the highest wasters of water and one of the highest polluters of water as well. Right. A bit of a change with this question. Naresh, Modiji, Swati, Udit, and Padmaja. On to the next one. Again, double points for this. Face recognition systems of passengers is in the trial phase and will be implemented at these airports by the end of 2021. Now, which are these airports? Is it Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Bengaluru? Is it Calcutta, Varanasi, Pune, and Vijayawada? Is it Ahmedabad, Kochi, Mumbai, and Chennai? Or is it Delhi, Jaipur, Guwahati, and Tiruvananthapuram? Pick which slot of airports are going to get the facial recognition system by the end of this year. You have some time, so you can decide which group you're going to go for. Okay, so I would have gone for Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore with my eyes closed, because clearly these are all the most high traffic airports in the country. But interestingly, 17 of you got it right. Uh, it's Calcutta, Varanasi, Pune, and Vijayawada. This is not your top notch airports. One is an international, of course, but this is a cluster that has been picked for the trial phase towards the end of 2021. I gave a minute for this particular question. We don't give this much time for our multiple choice questions, but this was because you really have to sort of think and read through all of the cities and the airports that I've mentioned. So just wanted to give a little more time. All right. Let's see who got what with this question. But Parisha is now in the lead, followed by Mukesh, Naresh, Rahul, and Sri Harshita. Okay. True or false, and you get 20 seconds for this. If you are unable to drive a vehicle in reverse with reasonable accuracy, you can still get a driving license in India. Is this statement true or is it false? Okay, so 61 of you have answered it correctly, and that it is false. Now, one of the parameters for qualifying for your driving skill test is to be able to do the S test, which means that with reasonable skill, you should be able to drive a car in reverse and park it in a slot either on the left or the right. Okay. And if you cannot do it with some amount of ease and accuracy, then you typically are supposed to, under the central motor vehicles rules, you are supposed to fail your test. I know a lot of us have actually got our licenses by really doing very little. But in some parts and RTOs, they are very particular about this. And in fact, a whole lot of drivers have not got their licenses simply because of this test. And this is sort of one of those very critical and one of the areas, and India is has one of the highest road accidents in the world. And that is because a lot of our drivers are not exactly qualified. And therefore, tests like this and formalizing it and making it into rules across RTOs does become important. Now, just to give you a sense, across the regional transport offices around the country, on an average, the 69% of the drivers who took this test were able to do it. This actually is recorded government data. Okay. So it's Parisha, Mukesh, Modiji, Udit, and Niharika Chabra makes her entry into the scoreboard. Right. Another true or false, and you get double points for this. While the quantity of fireworks exported from Sivakasi, which is in Tamil Nadu, has dropped, number of accidental deaths recorded have increased, which seem counterintuitive. But anyway, the statement we're asking is if this is true or this is false. Okay, 76 of you are correct. Just so that you get a perspective, Virudhunagar in Tamil Nadu, where Sivakasi fireworks, has really been uh, a very controversial topic. Now, on one hand, it generates significant revenue as a cottage industry. On the other hand, it has been exploitative because there have been, very young children uh, who have um, suffered because of this. I'm smiling because I have to answer Sanofa's comment on one of the questions. Essentially, what has happened is, and we've seen right from 2018-19, where we had about 57,000 kilograms of fireworks exported, the numbers dropped. In fact, last year it was 11,500. So clearly, manufacturing activity of fireworks has gone considerably down in Sivakasi. But if we talk about the deaths, and we're only talking about the deaths that have been compensated and therefore recorded in government uh, data, in 2018-19, there were 2 deaths because compensation was given for it. That was recorded. In 2019-2020, the number went up to 17 deaths that got compensation. And last year, it was a record of 31 deaths that was compensated by the Tamil Nadu government, which means that while production has come down, the accidents have gone up. And there have been investigations launched. In fact, there's even a committee that has been set up to understand why are these accidents happening? Is there something more behind it? Or really, what is going on? A dying industry nonetheless, but an industry which has really caused a lot of pain and damage to many, many young children and people from that area. Okay, so just one quick point on Sanofa, your observation on road conditions and drivers. Well, sometimes it almost seems like, both hand in hand, because if your road conditions are not good, then therefore your driving has to equally match that, so that we can avoid the inevitable of an accident. But it'll be interesting to also, and there is data on accidents caused by road conditions, and there is data on accidents caused just by drivers. So yes, I hear your point. All right. The scoreboard. Mukesh, Modiji, Udit, Naresh, and Sri Harshita. I think we're really looking for a breakthrough, and I'm hoping the next 2 puzzle questions are going to allow for that. Okay, so the first puzzle question coming up, double points and 1 whole minute. Rank from high to low, you need to stack them in order. The states based on the number of slum households registered. I've put in urban areas just so that you don't get confused. Slums normally are classified in urban areas, but we're saying the households that have been registered in these states. And your options are Maharashtra, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, and Madhya Pradesh. You'll have to use some anecdotal evidence here. Don't be too influenced by the movies that you see, but I think some amount is a fair point. Some amount of stereotyping is possibly going to help you with this particular question. Okay, not too bad. All of you are very good at this. So it is Maharashtra in the lead in terms of slum households that are registered. And why is this important? Especially when we're looking at government schemes where we're going to create more affordable housing, lower income housing, trying to make sure that, in urban areas, especially in the slum areas, there is a basic pakka house that people can live in, etc. And then you have Tamil Nadu, which has about 14 lakh 63,000 households in slums that are registered. The stacking would have been very different if Andhra Pradesh as a state had not bifurcated. We're talking about the latest census numbers. And you have West Bengal, followed by Madhya Pradesh, which has about 11 lakh 17,000 slum households that are registered. All right, we'll see who got this right. And if any of you have any comments, would like to know anything, please just let us know. So it's Sharheen in the lead, followed by Mukesh, Modiji, Aroni, and Udit. Barkha, I think you're having a problem clicking the answer. I'm really sorry about that, but I just, you just have to know that you have to stack the order, and then don't forget to please just hit on the submit button. I don't know whether you did that or you didn't, but can you please just look out for that in the next question? And I hope you get double points, so you pretty much just make it somehow. All right. Okay. This is the last question of this week, and double points again. Rank from high to low the states based on the number of non-complying, grossly polluting industries. So we're saying these are industries that have not listened to the pollution control boards. They've made complaints against these industries, but they're still going ahead and doing whatever they're doing as on date. And the states are Arunachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh. Um, this kind of data is important simply because it also tells you what is the quality of rule of law, or do people actually listen to the government in these states. Okay, this was a slightly tough question, and I think a few of you did, in fact, get this right. It is Uttar Pradesh, followed, and there are about 41 as we speak industries that are still not meeting with the environmental standards, even after being told to do so. And then you have Jharkhand, which has 34. Arunachal Pradesh, surprisingly, has 26 non-complying polluting industries. These are again tanneries, chemicals, sugar, etc. And Haryana, surprisingly, whom I would have thought would be up there with Uttar Pradesh, has just got 6 non-complying industries. This really tells you, number one, how importantly these states are able to coerce these industries to comply with environmental regulations. Also tells you the kinds of industries that believe they can get away without even addressing these basic issues. So that's really the end of this quiz. I think a lot of you have been asking about certificates, and promptly there's a question that pops up saying, should we give you certificates for participating? Is it, it doesn't matter either way as long as you get the book, or yes, you would like a certificate, or no, you frankly don't quite care. Okay, so with this, I'm going to get to the podium. Some exciting things are coming your way. We will start and we will announce details of our annual championships that also will happen later in the year, but we're still some time away from that. And I'm going to get to the podium now. It's the 26th week and Modi ji is in 3rd place. We have Mukesh, who's in the 2nd place, who's a very regular quizzer with us. And in the top spot, we have Sharheen, This is the first time I'm seeing this name up here, so that's fantastic. Congratulations. And congratulations to our runner ups as well. Thank you all so much for joining us for this week's quiz. We're going to have more thematic quizzes coming up as we go along. So please don't forget to follow us on Instagram, write into us at connect@indiafactquiz.com. Uh, just write in, even if you're not claiming your book. And if you are claiming your book, please fill up the Google form. Thank you all so much for spending your evening with us. We truly appreciate it. And thank you for giving facts some space in your life. Look forward to seeing you again 5 p.m. on Fridays for India Fact Quiz Game of Facts with Meenal in Hindi. And I'm back on Saturday at 5 p.m. Thank you all so much and stay safe.